everyone. Good morning. Good Thursday morning to one and all. Thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, we are into this second hour of the mid-morning buzz. It is Thursday, the 20th of February 2020. Wherever you are this morning with us, on air and online, we welcome you to the program. Of course, I am Brenda Batiste, and this morning I have a very, very special guest with me. A very special lady. She is Patsy Bowman, and she is also known as Mrs. Dr. Sebi. She would explain that for us. But it's quite a pleasure. Of course, we are going to be talking about food, medicine, and all that's good. All that we need to look at in terms of letting our food be our medicine and our medicine be our food, which is her approach to her work and nutrition and all the professional advice she offers. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you here with us this morning.
Well, thank you. I feel the same. It's a pleasure and honor.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Happy to hear that. So tell us, who is Patsy Bowman, what Patsy's doing in Grenada, and how, Dr. Sebi became involved in the life of Patsy.
Well, actually, I am the last legal wife of Dr. Sebi,
Mm-hmm.
and I live in Grenada now.
Right.
So you can come see me and give you great advice of, how you can keep your body healthy
Mm-hmm.
and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So just in case people are wondering, I know lots of folks are aware of who Dr. Sebi is, but just, probably in a couple words, just tell us and just remind folks who he is in case they're wondering, well, who's this person she's talking about?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Sebi, we won a case in the Supreme Court of New York since 1988. Proving to cure AIDS,
Mm-hmm.
cancer, diabetes, herpes, lupus, blindness,
Mm-hmm.
paralysis, etc.
Mm-hmm.
As we go down the list, there are no incurable diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've been doing over the years. Of course, my husband did all the talking, but I'm the one who make the herbs, and I still do make it.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And of course, he was world renowned.
Of course.
Went all over the world, worked with lots of celebrities and politicians and powerful people and
Yes.
everyday people as
Yeah.
well. And his approach to treating the body of ailments, and so the approach he had, it seemed to have been catching on before his death.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it is real. Healing is real.
Mm-hmm.
Because disease really is just, it is one thing in the body,
Right.
which is mucus.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get rid of the mucus, you'd find the cells begin to revitalize
Mm-hmm.
and, just nourish the body and revitalize the cells. And within days, you begin to feel differently.
Okay, so your approach and your adage basically is let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. That is the basis for your treatments, right?
Yes.
Okay, why is that so?
Because if you ingest something, it should be something that that would be able to deliver, nutrients to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And from the foods that we've been taught to eat, it isn't so.
Interesting. So in terms of curing of illnesses and diseases, right? How does this approach measure up? Because normally, you go to the doctor, you get, some prescription for some drug to take care. So in terms of letting food be the medicine and medicine of food, and in terms of the curing the diseases and illnesses the body is afflicted by, how does your approach measure up to what obtains?
Well, actually, because we have developed, it's all native plants. We've developed formulas and created a therapy program that would begin to chelate the body as well as nourish it at the same time. However, I'm not going to leave this show without telling you what you can do at home to start being healthy. For instance, one of the main things in the morning when you get up, drink a coconut water and eat the jelly. You can't say even if you eat drink 2 or 3, you can't tell me you're hungry after that. So that's a great breakfast. And one of the main things that I will talk about, one of the main foods, is sea moss that I will talk about, which contains 92 minerals in sea moss, and our body contains approximately 102. So therefore, this is like nature's whole food, and that's what I would recommend that you take
sea moss
every
is all
day.
around us.
Yes, and that's why I wonder why we're sick, and the food is right there.
Interesting. So, in terms of there are also in our bodies, right? There are the chemical and also neurological balances and how they work and how they interact with the ingestion of food or drugs or whatever. So, in terms of just taking in food and for the cures or just to keep us healthy, how does that measure up?
Well, one thing I do know, if you do ingest something that is acidus, it would begin to break your cells down.
Acid.
Yes, because our body is more, life is more on the alkaline side as opposed to the acidus side. So you would begin to choose foods that are alkaline as opposed to acidus foods, which will bring us into using native plants instead of artificial plants.
Okay, native plants instead of artificial plants. Define.
Okay, for instance, people talk about. Let's see what plant they use that's artificial. One of the main things they use is like moringa or nuni. Let's talk about nuni. Well, nuni is an artificial plant. It is not found in the forest or anywhere. It is either in someone's backyard or either in a botanical garden. You will find nuni, moringa, all these things. So that would not be recommended because it is acidus.
Nuni's acidus.
Yes, it
Moringa's acidus.
Yes.
People swear by moringa, especially here in Grenada.
I know. A lot of people swear by protein and vitamins as well, and that does not work either.
But we get to that in a minute or so. But let's just explore moringa a bit because there are people, because it's all around us, especially here in Grenada. And you're right, it's just outside the door. It's
exactly,
just
or
down
in
the
a
road.
botanic garden.
Right.
It's not found in the forest, so it's an artificial plant. But I can agree that it is still better than if you were to be eating blood and bones. So it's still better, blood, bones, and flesh. So it is less dangerous than that. But I can say that it is an artificial plant. But in order to deliver minerals to your body, like I said, I mentioned one staple, sea moss. You can't go wrong there.
There's a friend of mine, just started to do some treatments, and it's kind of radical. And I use the term radical because they have taken the individual off their medicine. And this sea moss is being, used in various ways. And she's saying that she's seeing results, albeit uncomfortable, because she has to get used to the taste. And they're even using it on her skin.
Of course.
Because one of the afflictions is on the skin.
Yes.
And so she's saying that she's seeing. So let's talk about that some more. What's up with sea moss?
Well, because of the fact it's loaded, it's minerals. That's what the body really craves. Minerals that has been deficient over the years. Because given the foods that we've been taught to eat, you would find that like egg, milk, cheese, and butter, meat. There's no nutrients in that.
There's no nutrients in eggs?
No, ma'am. When I was younger, I used to drive old cars. And if your radiator have a hole in it, all you have to do is to bust an egg and throw it down in there, and it clogs up all the holes. You can drive around for 90 days until you save enough money to fix your radiator or buy a new one. So it's the same thing it does in the human body. It clogs up your arteries, your veins. So it is not it's not a recommended food.
Right.
As a matter of fact, God didn't make no chicken.
Okay.
He made feathered birds, but he didn't make a fowl. A fowl is there to foul you and foul the environment and everything. And I know we have this argument about yard fowl or so. It's still a
Right.
fowl.
Okay,
And it's
because
not natural.
right, because some people would say, I know there's some people looking at you. What's wrong with this woman? Yard fowl eggs are healthy.
Oh,
What would you
really?
say to them?
Really?
I'm
It
asking.
will
I'm
clog.
asking.
Yeah, those eggs would clog your arteries.
Right, so
Eventually, you will have it comes up clogging your pancreatic ducts. You end up with diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
high blood pressure, heart problems as well, brain and nerve problem, Alzheimer's, dementia,
Wow.
bone problems.
So an egg is an egg is an egg, regardless of whether it comes from a
mean-
yard fowl or a fowl in a farm.
If you were to take a feathered bird that God made and you ate the eggs, but God forgive me, I don't know why you would want to do that, because He said, "Thou shalt not kill," right? So, if you take an egg from maybe an ostrich, that is not something that would hurt you.
Okay.
But in all, we don't want to. We don't want to kill living beings. You don't need to kill anything to get nutrients.
Okay.
And if you didn't kill it and you bought it at the supermarket, and I did say supermarket, you're an accessory
heard
to that
that.
murder.
Okay. Okay, I see. Interesting. So back to the CMOS, how what it does, and basically to maybe what's the best way in terms of preparation, because here we normally we have a traditional way of doing it, like a punch, and we add milk and
Well, no,
Right.
that is like spoiling the CMOS right there. Some people can eat it raw, which is good. You soak it in water overnight and then you chop it up in your salad and eat it next day. Other than that, if you want to, you can boil some water. You rinse the CMOS out. When the water is boiling, you put the CMOS in there and you lower the fire down and just let it boil for like 3-4 minutes. And then you turn the stove off and you cover it and you let it steep in there for like maybe 15-20 minutes.
okay, like how you
And-
do tea.
Yes, and
Right.
then you blend that up, the CMOS and the water and everything, and that's the porridge you drink. It doesn't have a taste. It smells like the ocean, yes, because it came from the ocean, but it will nourish you. I promise within 3 days you would not believe how you're gonna feel with just plain CMOS.
Really interesting.
It helps to remove excessive fluid from the body and nourish every cell, especially the bone cells, your muscles, your brain and central nerve. And it is known as West Indian Viagra.
Yes, I
So it's a good thing.
right. Was that a myth though?
It's not a myth.
It's not? Okay, because I know, lots of things, everything around us, all the trees, the barks of trees, sea moss, this, that, we think it's an aphrodisiac and so on and so forth. So you're saying it's not a myth with the sea moss?
It's not a myth with the CMOS. And it's not really an aphrodisiac. What it really is, because it nourishes your body, then your body begin to work the way it should.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it really works, it really nourishes the central nervous system and the rest of the body,
Yes.
protecting it from
Yes.
hazardous.
And it's especially good for the reproductive organs. And that's why I said it's like a West Indian Viagra. So
Talk to
you
us
can definitely try it for 3 days, I promise you.
Probably get lots of calls for this one. You mentioned you said supermarket, and you made a joke earlier about well, not a joke, but you made a jab at meat. No, meat in our culture, meat is traditionally considered a very, very, very critical food item, because we are made to believe, or we convention is that we get all our proteins and so from meat. So
Well, one of the things that I do if we're going to heal you, the first thing I do is to take away all protein, because the body does not need protein or vitamins. That is a myth. What the body needs is minerals. For your blood, don't you need iron?
yeah,
That is not a protein or a vitamin, it's a mineral. For your brain and central nerve, you need copper and carbon. Those are still minerals. For your reproductive organs, you need zinc. it's still a mineral. For your bones, calcium, magnesium, they're still minerals. And if you go throughout the body, you would find that each system of your body depend on a certain mineral to nourish it. So that's where CMOS plays a great role in your diet. And if you were to add 1 cup of CMOS per day to your staple, what we're used to, you'll find after a few days you're not as hungry, and you would begin to leave that so-called food, that acidus food.
Interesting. And so you've pointed out many interesting and new ways of looking at things here this morning. Talk to us about your discovery that led you to this process, because you weren't born thinking this, and you grew up in a household where you had 4 legs and you had meat and thing. So
yes, I did.
Talk to us about your discovery that led you to this process.
Well, what happened when I was younger, a young girl, my grandmother made you know what blood pudding is?
I love blood pudding. Listen,
okay,
I'm an honest person. So, I love blood pudding.
So when I saw the way that you make blood pudding by taking the colon of an animal,
the tripe.
Yeah, right. you cannot
it
wash.
Nice in pea soup.
Unbelievable. You cannot wash away fecal matter from something that removes fecal waste from the body.
Right.
So then now you take the blood, and then you take bread and you season that up and you stuff it in the colon of an animal. We are not slaves anymore. We don't have to eat animal parts.
Right.
It is really gross to think that you're eating the colon of an animal, and people think that is such a great food.
Okay.
It might taste good, but if you put salt and seasoning on a leaf, it will taste good as well.
Right.
So when you eat this, it breaks the system down. Remember, when you buy meat, you can't leave it out on your countertop or the table, right? You have to put it in your refrigerator. Well, surprisingly, your body is not a refrigerator. It rottens in there faster.
Right.
That is why when we go to the bathroom, we better lock that door, burn some incense, and spray something.
Right.
Because it's rotting matter that's coming out.
Right.
But once you stop that, you'll find that you can go to the bathroom and leave the door open.
Right.
So it will still smell like fecal matter, but it won't smell
because
rotten.
It's waste coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Having said that, though, I mean, other than it being fecal matter, and so when like the colon of an animal, the blood of an animal, that kind of thing, when it gets into the body and it goes through the digestive tract, and what else happens? What
breaks the system down, because when something dies, it begins to deteriorate. So it rots, it turns to inflammation, and the end result is uric acid. And that acid begins to eat you up. You would not deliberately pour acid on your skin, right?
No.
So then why do we eat it? All the animal products is uric acid. The dairy products is lactic acid. So these are things that we don't want to eat at all. We don't want to consume that. You can drink milk, but you can drink coconut milk, almond milk, hemp seed milk. There are so many milks you can find that you can eat that is not that would not hurt you.
Right.
Right. And there's so much coconut on the island. Grate your coconut, make some coconut milk.
Always in season.
Yeah, and you can put some coconut milk in your CMOS if you want to make a smoothie or something.
Okay. Or maybe just...
Yeah, you make it into a smoothie. It would just nourish you. You would not be damaging the CMOS at that point.
Interesting. Now, lots of folks are saying, and that's something I think I saw in one of Dr. Sebi's interview, he basically implied that big corporations and big brands, they've kind of taken control of our diet, what we eat, and then when the food breaks us down, then how we treat the body. Is that true?
Well, of course. the foods that we've been taught of to eat, that how you call that pyramid of the daily nutritional supplements or whatever. That is a total how you call it. That cannot nourish you. That would actually break your cells down. Our food group, and it's for everyone. Our food group is oxygen, water, fruit, and herbs. That is our food group. And sometimes some illegal stuff that is deemed illegal. Those are the things that nourish us.
I mean, illegal, like some herbs?
Yeah.
Some herbs. Oh,
Yeah, some herbs are deemed
just wanted
illegal.
to get illegal quantified.
Yes.
You know, because we're on air.
Yes. And relax, it's only a plant.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But of course it does have, we know that it does have, because of one of the agents in it, it does have a negative thing on some
What way is it negative? Because I've used it before on people who are autistic, and it repaired the brain
What
and
does the
central nerve.
THC does in the drug of which we speak?
Well, the thing is, because they have been experimenting with it so much, what you want is a native grown plant.
Okay.
And that will be able to deliver enough minerals to the brain and central nerve that it would calm immediately within minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very.
But there's another plant that you can do that's not illegal here, which you guys call Ven.
Ven.
Yeah, it's the blue vervain. It is it's great for the brain and central nerve. So that also will help. Kids who are a little hyper, so you can give them the blue vervain as a tea in the morning and in the night before they sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that do? Relax.
It calms the nerve. It nourishes the nerve because it has copper, carbon, and zinc. Especially the root, and the root is good also for the reproductive organs of male and female.
It's weird, and when you do your food groups, like when you first became in school, when you first started to do like nutrition and health science and so, and you did your food groups, to me it's like the vitamins and all of that, and protein and calcium and carbohydrates and all of it was up there, and things like zinc and iron and so fell below. But as you get older in life and things start happening, you realize zinc is very, very important for the body.
Exactly, especially the reproductive organs. And then I must add, when you go to your doctor and you're weak or whatever, and he recommends iron, he's right. But you have to get a proper structure of iron, something that would assimilate into the human body. The only thing that can do that is a plant, which is able to absorb the minerals from the soil and put it in a perfect package in a leaf for your digestion, which will assimilate into the human body.
Right. Interesting. Even in terms of iron, though, there are some folks, myself included, that cannot have too much iron.
I know the artificial iron, but if you have too much iron, an iron with a iron phosphate, then, which is a proper structure of iron, for instance, like stinging nettle. Yes, you can drink a cup of stinging nettle tea every 4 hours, and I promise you would not be tired after at least a few days.
But you eat stinging nettle and thing when you go to school,
Yes.
I had the needles in my tongue not needles, the pricky thing
Yes.
in my tongue because I didn't eat it properly.
It's an electrical plant, so it
and
shocks
I got a beating
you.
for that.
Yeah. So once you put it in some once you boil some water and you put it in the boiling water, turn the stove off and you steep it. When you drink that, then it electrifies your body.
Right, so it's like, I see. It's like an electrolyte.
It is an electrical
Isn't that
plant.
what coconut is as well?
Yes.
Ah.
Coconut water. Also, this thing you call Maihan picker or sleeping beauty. You know that plant, when you touch it, it closes?
Yes.
Well, when you make a tea with it, the same way it moves, it makes you move.
Interesting.
Instead of the green tea that you buy at the supermarket, stop it. No green tea and coffee. You could, use those.
I love coffee.
And it would.
I tried my best with
But coffee don't love you. It would make your arteries very thin, causing venous leaks after a while. It will hurt
Really?
you. Drink a cup of stinging nettle. Bring a boil
I
bring
don't know when last I
thermos
see
full.
stinging nettle.
It's all over the place. It's natural vegetation. I have a big stinging nettle plant by my bedroom window.
Really?
I call it my God, because if somebody trying to come through my window, it's gonna shock them. Yeah.
I don't know when last
It's
I
all
saw
over the
that.
place.
You know, when you went to school, we had these little tracks and they were called shortcuts.
Yes.
So in there, you're meeting up the stinging nettle, the stinking toe, the sugar apple, all these things you meet up on the way.
All these things are great. These are great plants that we should be consuming instead of going to the supermarket and buying grapes and apples. And there's golden apple here. There's the wild plums. There's mangoes. The papaya, soursop. These are things that we should be eating instead of buying these so-called artificial fruits.
So when someone comes to you, let's say someone, because we know that cancers and diabetes and so very, very prevalent in Grenada, very debilitating, impacting our production as well as a society. When someone comes to you with afflicted with one of those, what sort of approach would you take with that individual?
The first thing, you would have to change your diet. Your diet is like 45% of your healing. But again, what we offer is an intracellular chelation and biomineral balance. While we're cleaning the body from the cellular level, we're also replacing minerals that has been deficient over the years. So that's what we do. And even though we start with a 30-day therapy, it's not like one treatment will not cure you completely because healing is a journey. But as you begin, within your first 3 days, you will know for a fact you're taking something to help you.
Really?
Because these herbs assimilate into the body right away.
Right. So have you seen quite a few individuals since you're here with different...
Yeah, I've seen folks, and most of the folks I see is actually abroad, but I've seen some folks here. We have a few people who... from Parkinson's, blindness, paralysis, heart problems, fibroids, infertility, lupus. Actually, lupus is a lot. It is the foods that we're eating here that is causing these problems because it's mucus in the system. Even if it is full-blown AIDS. AIDS is an acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So what did the immune system acquire for it to become deficient? Again, it's mucus. We remove the mucus, and there goes AIDS. Now, you want to know, well, where are we removing the mucus from? Well, if you have sinusitis, we'll be removing it from your respiratory system. Or if you have pneumonia, asthma, we'll be removing the mucus from your lung. If you have bronchitis, we'll be removing the mucus from your bronchial tubes. Arthritis, your joints, it's hardened there. In the case of AIDS, we remove it from your skin, your blood, and your lymphatic system, which makes up your immunological system, and there goes AIDS. It's a matter of cleansing and revitalizing the body with the minerals.
Would you say it's a cure, or would you say that it becomes almost non-existent in the body, so then it does not transferable, or there's no need for the individual to continue to treat it as a disease?
It is a cure, providing you do not eat the things that's going to break your immune system down again. It breaks our cells down. That is the first... you are, compromising your first line of defense, which is your immune system. And so if you go back eating dead things, that's uric acid, inflammation and stuff, of course your body would break down again. But if you continue on that the way you feel so great when you get off that meat diet. Hopefully that you will continue for the rest of your life. I've stopped like 57 years ago. So it's not bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So and we were talking about what got me into this, being a vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
Since
Yes, I
my
was gonna go to
grandmother
discuss
did that, I just refused to consume that. And then I knew I was just playing with Betsy in the yard, and then Sunday it's on the table. I couldn't. The
Sorry.
little ducks.
Sorry.
I'm playing with Betsy, the little ducks and the thing. So, and then they're trying to tell me, I have to eat this. I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah. And then, I loved callaloo as well. You know how you make the callaloo, and I would eat callaloo and rice when I was little. So they put crab in the callaloo. So all of these traumas, that's what got me to be just totally vegan. I just didn't want anything dead at my plate anymore.
So you're saying that you're making the conclusion that a plant-based diet is safer than what we're doing, what we like meats and all of that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a plant-based diet.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we're basically walking, talking plants.
Yeah, interesting. We had a call on the line, lost that call. I'm sure folks have questions. They'll probably want to make comments as well. You can give us a call, 435-2041. That's the access number. Speaking here with Ms. Patsy Bowman. And of course, how would you call yourself? What would you say you do?
Dr. Sabi.
All right, good. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. And good morning to your guests. I listening there, and this is so intriguing. In common, a lot of the things that your guests are saying, they like the My Hunt and this thing in nettle. Well, I use this, and I recommend this to a lot of people because I learned those things have values over the years. But mimosa, as you said, it goes for the brain. And the blue ven. Mimosa, it is said, is a poisonous plant. Pink mimosa. How do you respond to this? But let me say this, Ms. Baptiste. All those years, I had been herbal, right? I like this. But you always hear me mention money in my conversation with you. Money. Herbs are very expensive. These foods that we need, that the body needs on a daily basis, are expensive. How do we cope with the needs? And you talk about AIDS and what can cure AIDS. And I agree this because it's mucus. How do we get around being able to use these foods on a regular daily basis in the quantum that we should when we are struggling for money, wages, that is so useful to do those things? How do we do this?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of folks seem to think that to have a plant-based diet or to eat healthy, as we say, that people say it's expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
But I think it is more expensive to pay with a pound of your flesh other than paper from your pocket. However, as I said before, natural vegetation, you can walk outside your door, you can find zephina, stinging nettle, ven, soursop. You can find these foods instead of going to the supermarket to spend the dollars that you don't have. You can eat blogo, mushrooms, these things that you can eat without having to spend a penny. Just forage the way we did before, or border with your neighbors.
The mushrooms that grow wildly on the grass here, I mean, as a child, we call it Jumbie umbrella.
Yes. Yeah, but those
and people tell you it's poisonous, but it's not.
No, it's not poisonous. Even the ones that grow on the trunk of the trees, that's real chicken. That's hickory chicken. So you cut it off, you soak it in water overnight, then you squeeze it out in the morning, you chop it up, and you season it like you season meat. And you have a plant-based meat that would not hurt you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We have another call on the line. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Morning, Brenda. Morning to your guests.
Good morning.
How you all doing?
Very well, thanks.
Okay. The lady talked about the egg, the damage it does to your body. Is it any way you use it? Boil, fry, it do the same damage?
Okay, he wants to know the best way to use eggs.
You should not use it at all. Unless you have a hole in your carburetor, in your radiator or something, it will clog up all the holes. It does the same thing in the human body.
Somebody's asking, what do you recommend for on the WhatsApp? What do you recommend for acid reflux? Stomach acid reflux.
Well, you would need a treatment that would begin to remove the acid and inflammation from the stomach, and then there would be foods that you cannot have. Mm-hmm. As I said again, acidous foods: egg, milk, cheese, butter, meat, fish, conch, sea cat, all the stuff you guys eat here.
You mean? How can we get rid of mucus? Another person is asking on WhatsApp.
You stop eating the mucus-making foods. And we do have a chelation that we would remove the mucus from the body and deliver minerals that would restore your cells.
Some mucus-making foods primarily will be
all the stuff we eat: rice and bacon, butter and cheese and egg, and all the stuff we eat actually makes mucus. But you can find some mucus-less flour like spelt, kamut, quinoa, rye, amaranth, teff, fonio, teosinte. These grains are natural, whereas they just gave us, they just exposed us to wheat, which is unnatural. The wheat grass, everything. Don't use it.
Okay. Somebody saying on WhatsApp as well, eating plant-based foods may be good, but how do we know where these plants are grown if we do not grow it for ourselves?
Well, this is why you attend to natural vegetation, because natural vegetation, you go where the plant grows, and that's where you pick it from. You can have a garden which is organic, which is great, but in order to get the minerals from the herbs that we're using, you should go to where it grows naturally. For instance, when I need lily of the valley or the flower of the lily of the valley, I have to go to the Valle de Trinidad in Mexico to get that. So because the minerals in the soil produces that.
I see.
If you remove the plant from the natural place where it's growing and put it somewhere else, it may not contain the same minerals.
All right.
Where
so
you found it.
The soil have a lot to do with what happens with the plant. Interesting.
Exactly.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, when you're talking about health, first thing you have to think about when you're thinking about health, you have to clean up your shoe first. All the junks who are coming in, you have to try to get rid of that first. So when you get rid of that, then you go talk about health. We always talking about health.
What's your question, sir? What's your question for the lady?
The question for the lady, first thing I want to tell her, when she's talking about health, she has to clean up our shoe first. Clean up the environment of what we bringing in, and like the chickens and all them kind of things and them. So we have to clean up those things first, and then we will talk about health. If we're trying to treat our sickness and we're still eating the same product, we're not getting healthy, we're getting more sick.
I think that's what she's saying.
Well, you are absolutely right, sir. That is exactly what I'm saying. And if we as a people stop eating those animal products, then there would be no need for them to bring it in for us to even rear these
supply
things.
And demand.
It's supply and demand. Like, for instance, since I came to Grenada, a lot of the supermarkets, they start selling maple syrup, agave. They sell kamut, quinoa. They start selling because the clients were asking for that. So they started bringing those things in. Look, the new supermarket, they have their SOG on going towards Westerhall there. They have a lot of health food stuff that you can have. So that was my point. We need to stop eating dead things because, let the dead carry the dead.
Good morning.
Yes, Citizen Batiste. Greetings. Very interesting conversation. Tell me something, Citizen Batiste. Is your guest, good morning to your guest, should I say. Is your guest a Grenadian?
Actually, I was born in Trinidad, but my grandparents were.
Well, you don't talk as a Trini at all. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You're one of us. Listen, very interesting topic you have there. There is a website I consult from time to time, Eating Yourself Alive. And it says just the same that you're saying there. Now, this product, quinoa, that you made mention, is it a product made in Ecuador?
It's not a product made. It's grown in Peru.
In Peru and Ecuador,
Quinoa.
yeah.
It's mostly in Peru, South America.
Yeah, there's every stuff, huh? But I'll tell you something, my goodly lady, it's expensive. And there we go. Somebody previously called and mentioned about how expensive it is to really eat well in truth. It is true in this here country to eat well. And the dangerous part of it is, although you try to grow a little food, you spoke about eating blugger and fig, hallelujah, real food, breadfruit or potatoes, whatnot. Eat your little sauce up and whatnot, but here not there teeth in it, excuse the use of the word. Just imagine I'm a blind man. I get somebody to help to clear plant little things and they just disappear and I can't get them to eat. But I agree with you. Eating from nature is the best way to live. But you see, this has to start with the people and the government. The government of this here country has to move, whereas we suffer so much with health problems. And we have to move in this here to take a decision on the things we import. And don't come and give me no choice thing, because when you're done, it's the same government we had to produce, we had to provide for the health care. But it's a nice way to go. I wouldn't go totally vegan or vegan as it is said, but I love a vegetarian diet with my little fish, occasionally, not too very often. Blugger and fig, I love it too much. You see that black line down the middle of the green fig? Talk to me with that little olive oil and garlic crush. That is my kind of food. So I fully agree with the method that you're speaking about and the direction to take so that we can live much more healthily in this here country. Thank you very much, Citizen Matisse, for a very good program.
Thank you, Citizen Rollo. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're quickly out of time.
Yeah. We're almost out of time.
We're almost out of time, so I'm sure I'm going to be seeing you again.
Well, I hope so, I can bring some more information.
Yes.
And remember, we talked about, cheap things. My mother always used to say, cheap things is not good and good things is not cheap. And as I said, you can go outside. It's natural vegetation. Zephina and Blogo every day. Gorillas live in the forest for like 300 years and they eat bananas and berries every day.
True.
So I can't see why we can't eat some Blogo and Zephina for 30 days, and you don't have to buy that. You can border with your neighbor. I'm sure they have Blogo trees, and you can go and pick Zephina all over the place. We have dog walking and peeing on Blogo, and on that Zephina, and we wouldn't eat it because they say it's a little bitter, but you can put a little pepper in it. You won't taste the bitterness.
All right. Someone is saying, what do you use for a stomach cleanse?
Well, I use a combination of herbs. It is we have a cell cleanser, and I also have a CC4, depending on what you're dealing with. But that's not sold separately. It has. I cannot remove debris from your body and not replace minerals. So it's a little package.
Right.
I can make you a small package, or I can make you a large package, depending on what your budget is. I will work with you.
Wonderful. Somebody's saying, very interesting. I'm interested in the method of using a sea moss. Please explain.
Again.
2 seconds. Yeah, she probably missed it.
Boil the water. When the water is boiling, you put the sea moss in there. You rinse it out first, and you put the sea moss in there. Turn the stove off. Let it sit in there for like 20 minutes. You blend that up, and that's the porridge. That's your breakfast.
Wonderful. And your number they're asking for?
It's 417-3171.
Okay, 417-3171.
Yes.
And you're asking for Patsy Bowman.
Yeah, Dr. Sebi is fine. Mrs. Dr. Sebi, as a matter of fact.
I thought you Mrs. to the doctor.
Mrs. Dr. Sebi.
Never heard it like that before.
I had to do that. It's with a difference.
I see. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by. I look forward to talking with you again, both in a professional and personal capacity.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be. It was an honor, more than and pleasure to be here. And I hope to be back soon so I can give some more information about the local things that's here.
Yes, yes.
We can use that you
Yes.
don't have to buy.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's pocket is stifling right now, so definitely you can eat healthy with less money.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure.
Same
All
here.
right. That's our program this morning. Thanks, everyone. Our special guest was Miss Patsy Bowman, also known as Mrs. Dr. Sabi, and of course, her adage and the way she is looking at let food be our medicine and medicine be our food. All right, and you can give her a call at 417-3171.
Yes.
417-3171 to start your renewal today, so to speak. I gotta leave. Thanks, everyone. I'm Brenda. Until next time. Bye-bye.
How do you choose your toilet paper? Just because it's soft and nice. That's how I choose my toilet